Are you truly prepared for an emergency? In this video, we reveal the 11 essential items FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Agency, strongly recommends every household keep on hand at all times. From natural disasters like hurricanes and earthquakes to unexpected power outages and pandemics, these items could be the difference between chaos and survival. Whether you're building your first emergency kit or updating an old one, this checklist covers the most critical supplies, water, food, tools, and more that you and your family need to stay safe and self-sufficient for at least 72 hours. Don't wait until disaster strikes. Prepare today while you still can. Make sure to watch until the end to see if you're missing any of these life-saving essentials. Like this video if you found it helpful. Subscribe to our channel for more survival tips. And let us know in the comments, how many of these items do you already have in your home? Number 1, the most basic yet most ignored survival item. Let's get something straight. Without water, you're done. FEMA recommends 1 gallon of water per person per day for at least 3 days. And that's the absolute bare minimum. You're not just drinking it. You need it for cooking, cleaning, brushing your teeth, and basic hygiene. Skip out on this, and it won't matter how much food or gear you've stockpiled. Dehydration hits fast and hard, especially in hot climates or high-stress situations. Let's break it down. If you've got a family of 5, that's 15 gallons minimum. And no, that doesn't include water for your dog or for flushing toilets. 15 gallons sounds like a lot until you realize how fast you'll burn through it when your faucet stops working. During disasters like hurricanes, earthquakes, or power grid failures, municipal water becomes unreliable, contaminated, or just completely unavailable. Think this is overkill? After Hurricane Katrina, people were begging for clean water. Within 24 hours, some were drinking from swimming pools. In Puerto Rico, after Hurricane Maria, many resorted to collecting water from contaminated streams and even Superfund sites. You don't want to be that person. Storage isn't rocket science. You can stock up on store-bought gallon jugs and stash them in closets, under beds, or in your garage. Want a long-term solution? Invest in water storage containers or barrels. They're stackable, sealable, and can hold 5 to 55 gallons. And don't forget water purification tools like life straws, water filters, or purification tablets. Because if your supply runs out and you're forced to find water elsewhere, it better be safe to drink. Bottom line, if you don't have enough water, nothing else on this list will save you. Get it, store it, don't waste. 2, non-perishable food. You can't survive on hope. Next up is food, and again, not just a few cans tucked in a drawer. FEMA's guideline is clear. You need enough non-perishable food to feed everyone in your household 3 meals a day for at least 3 days. That's 9 meals per person. If there are 5 people in your home, you need 45 meals stocked and ready to go. Now, before you start throwing random canned goods into a box, think in terms of calories and practicality. That bag of trail mix isn't a meal. You need real, sustaining food that can carry you through high-stress, high-exertion scenarios. Here are your best options. Canned goods, beans, soups, meats, fruits, vegetables, anything that has a long shelf life and doesn't require refrigeration. Dry staples, oatmeal, pasta, rice, powdered potatoes, and instant noodles. These are calorie-dense, affordable, and easy to prepare. Milk freezer ready to eat. These military-style rations are compact, require no cooking, and provide up to 2,000 calories per pack. They're pricier but reliable. Freeze-dried food buckets. These have a shelf life of 25 years and come in sealed, stackable containers. Some buckets contain up to 60 servings, covering you for weeks. Why does this matter? Because in a disaster, grocery stores will be wiped out within hours. You think you're going to run down to the store for supplies after the quake hits or the floodwaters rise? Think again. You'll be met with empty shelves and desperate people. Ask anyone who lived through a major hurricane or winter storm. Food becomes currency, and you don't want to be the one begging for handouts. Also, don't rely on cooking being available. Power may be out. So favor items that can be eaten cold, rehydrated with hot water, or heated with a crisis pantry. Fix it. You're not prepping for luxury, you're prepping to survive. 3, Crank Plus Solar Emergency Radio. When the grid dies, this talks. Let's talk about the most underappreciated survival item out there, the emergency radio. Most people assume their phone will keep them connected. Newsflash. When the power and internet go out, your phone is just a shiny paperweight. Cell towers go down, networks get jammed, batteries die, but guess what? Still works. Radio waves. FEMA says you need a battery-free emergency radio, and there's a good reason. It's not just for music or background noise. It's your lifeline to information. During hurricanes, wildfires, and blackouts, AM/FM and NOAA weather alerts broadcast crucial updates like where to find food, fuel, shelter, or medical help. But don't just grab any old radio. You want one that runs on crank power and solar energy. That way you're not dependent on batteries or electricity. Look for radios with hand crank generator. Gives you power anytime, anywhere. Built-in solar panel charges automatically during daylight. USB ports to charge your phone or small devices. Flashlight, often included as a bonus feature. NOAA weather band, so you get government-issued alerts. A good example is the Voyager radio. Rugged, compact, and reliable. It's been used in real disaster zones like during Hurricane Sandy, where people used it to find out where FEMA aid stations were located. While others sat in the dark with no clue, help was just a few blocks away. This isn't about entertainment, it's about real-time survival intel. You'll know where the next storm is hitting, when evacuations are ordered, or where to find clean water. That knowledge could literally mean the difference between life and death. So get over the idea that radios are outdated. They're your ears when everything else goes silent. And trust me, when disaster strikes, silence is the last thing you want. 4, first aid kit, because bleeding out over a splinter is not the plan. Let's stop pretending Band-Aids from your junk drawer count as medical preparedness. In an actual emergency where ambulances aren't coming and hospitals are overflowing or unreachable, you are the doctor, whether you like it or not. That's why a real first aid kit, not a dollar store pouch with 2 wipes and a cartoon bandage, is absolutely non-negotiable. Start with the basics: bandages, gauze, antiseptic wipes, hydrogen peroxide, burn cream, tweezers, adhesive tape, gloves, scissors, painkillers, and some antibiotic ointment. Got that? Good. Now add more bandages, bandages, alcohol pads, cold packs, eye wash, and anything else you'd want when there's no ER in sight. Why does it matter? Because tiny injuries spiral into big problems fast. A small cut gets infected. A sprained ankle becomes a full-blown disability. A burn from spilled boiling water can become fatal if untreated. In disasters, the little things become life-threatening real quick. Now think bigger. What if you're dealing with broken bones, deep lacerations, or a family member going into shock? A real trauma kit and basic medical knowledge can be life-saving. And guess what? In a crisis, help might be days away if it comes at all. Real-world example, after earthquakes or hurricanes, people have gone days without rescue. Infection from untreated wounds is one of the top killers post-disaster. And it doesn't take much. In Katrina's aftermath, people died not from the storm, but from infected wounds, untreated diabetic crises, and preventable injuries. Your first aid kit should be organized, waterproof, and accessible. If it's buried behind your Christmas decorations, it's useless. And for those with special needs, medications, EpiPens, asthma inhalers, keep those stocked and rotated. Bottom line, if you're not medically equipped when the world goes sideways, you're gambling with your life. Build the kit, keep it ready, don't rely on luck. 5, whistle, because screaming won't save you when you're buried alive. Think of whistles just for gym class or referees. Think again. In a real disaster, a whistle can be your only lifeline. Literally. When buildings collapse, power fails, and you're trapped or injured, you won't be able to yell for long. Your voice goes hoarse, you get dehydrated, and guess what? Nobody hears you. That's where the whistle comes in. It's simple, loud, and doesn't require batteries or Wi-Fi. You blow it, and it cuts through rubble, noise, darkness, and panic. Rescue teams are trained to listen for sound signals like this. In fact, many protocols recommend 3 blasts as a distress signal. Why is this such a big deal? Picture this. You're stuck in your attic during a flood. Water is rising, no power, no phone service. You're screaming, but your neighbors can't hear you over the wind, rain, and chaos. A whistle can carry over that noise. It's high-pitched, sharp, and designed to be heard. Same goes for earthquakes. If a structure collapses and you're underneath a beam, your phone's dead, and your lungs are giving out, that little whistle could be the reason a rescuer finds you instead of walking by. Still think it's overkill? Ask the survivors of Hurricane Katrina, who were stranded in their homes or on rooftops. Many were stuck for days. People used anything they could find to make noise. A whistle would have made it a lot easier. You can get them cheap. Clip one to your keychain, bug-out bag, or emergency kit. Better yet, put one in every room. They weigh nothing but can do everything when you're in trouble. Blunt truth, your voice can fail. Your whistle won't. In a real emergency, every second matters, and being heard could be your only shot. 6, masks, because breathing shouldn't be optional. Disasters don't just knock out power, they pollute the air. Fires, explosions, chemical spills, viruses, dust storms, and more can turn every breath into a health hazard. That's why FEMA lists dust masks as an essential, and not just for comfort, for survival. Let's break it down. There are 3 main types. Basic dust masks, cheap but weak, offer minimal protection. Better than nothing, but don't expect miracles. Surgical masks help prevent the spread of illness, good for viral outbreaks, but again, limited filtration. N95 respirators. These are your gold standard. They filter out 95% of particles, 0.3 microns or larger, including smoke, bacteria, dust, and some viruses. If you're prepping for serious disasters, this is what you want. Now imagine this. A wildfire rips through your area. The air's thick with ash and smoke. Or there's a nearby industrial accident that releases chemicals. Or maybe there's a building collapse and you're surrounded by pulverized concrete and asbestos. Without a proper mask, your lungs are screwed. You'll be coughing, wheezing, maybe even passing out. Long-term exposure, you could develop serious respiratory issues or worse. Remember the COVID-19 pandemic? People couldn't find masks anywhere. Panic buying, price gouging, fake products. And that was just for a virus. Imagine that plus environmental disaster. You're not breathing clean air for weeks. If you have kids or elderly family members, the stakes are even higher. Their lungs can't handle contaminants the way healthy adults might. You owe it to them and yourself to be ready. Keep masks sealed, dry, and stored somewhere accessible. Don't let them rot in the back of your closet. Rotate them out periodically. And for added protection, consider goggles or full-face respirators if you're in high-risk areas. Harsh truth, breathing is non-negotiable. If you can't protect your lungs, the rest of your prep won't matter. Get the masks now while they're still available. 7. Plastic sheeting and duct tape, your last-ditch line of defense. Let's talk about something most people ignore because they think it's too extreme. Plastic sheeting and duct tape. But if FEMA lists it, there's a reason. This isn't a Hollywood panic tool. It's a practical line of defense in the face of radiological or biological threats. Sound scary? It should be. These are worst-case scenarios, but that doesn't mean they can't happen. Nuclear fallout, chemical leaks, airborne viruses, these threats aren't fiction. If there's a dirty bomb detonation, industrial chemical spill, or a viral outbreak spreading through the air, the only thing between your lungs and death might be a sealed room. Plastic sheeting, clear, thick plastic, like 4-6 mil, can be used to seal off doors, windows, and vents. Combine it with heavy-duty duct tape, and you've created a barrier against the contaminated air getting into your home. This isn't about perfection, it's about buying time. If the air outside is toxic, you shelter in place, seal your room, and ride it out until authorities give the all clear. The problem? Most people don't have a clue how to do this. They'll tape up their windows in a panic with leftover Christmas wrap and cheap tape that doesn't stick. If you want to be serious about prepping, have pre-cut sheets ready, labeled for each window or door, with duct tape stored right beside them. Sure, the odds of needing this setup are slim, but they're not zero. And when that moment hits, you don't get a warning, no time to run to the store. You either have it or you don't. If you think this is overkill, ask the people near Chernobyl or Fukushima. Ask survivors of chemical plant accidents or bioterror incidents. Emergencies escalate fast. Plastic sheeting and duct tape are cheap. Dying because you didn't spend $10 is not. 8. Moist toilets, garbage bags and ties, Sandy saving sanitation. People love to stockpile food and water, but ask them how they plan to go to the bathroom when the toilet stops working and they suddenly go quiet. Let's face it, hygiene is the silent killer in long-term emergencies. And if you don't plan for it, your living space will turn into a biohazard zone within days. You need moist toilets, garbage bags, and twist ties, and a lot of them. Why? Because when the water stops flowing, so does the toilets. And no, you can't just hold it for a few days. This is where the DIY toilet setup comes in. Here's how it works. You line a 5-gallon bucket or your toilet bowl with a heavy-duty garbage bag. Do your business, toss in some cat litter or sawdust if you've got it, tie the bag up and dispose of it like hazardous waste. That's your toilet now. Get used to it. Without this setup, you'll be dealing with the kind of smell, bacteria, and mess that brings disease faster than anything. Moist towelettes are your waterless hygiene station. Think you can survive without a shower for 2 weeks? Maybe. Think you can survive without cleaning your hands, face, and body while handling food and waste? Not a chance. Skin infections, stomach bugs, foodborne illness, it all starts when sanitation breaks down. In disaster zones, more people die from filthy infections than the actual event. Garbage bags also serve as storage, insulation, emergency ponchos, and more. Twist ties let you secure waste safely. Keep plenty of both. Here's the harsh truth. Nobody wants to think about poop in a crisis. But if you don't, you'll be drowning in it, literally and figuratively. FEMA didn't add this for fun. It's a brutally real necessity. Number 9, wrench and pliers. Shut it off or burn it down. You can have all the food, water, and supplies in the world, but if you can't shut off your utilities when disaster hits, your home becomes a ticking time bomb. Gas leaks start fires, water lines burst and flood everything, electricity shorts out and fries your gear, or worse, electrocutes you. That's why FEMA says you need a wrench and pliers on hand, and they're dead right. Gas lines are the big one. After earthquakes or storms, they can rupture, and if you don't shut off that gas, any spark, maybe from your fridge compressor or a light switch, can blow the whole place sky high. But most people don't even know where their gas shutoff valve is, let alone how to use it. That's not just unprepared, that's dangerous. Same with water. A busted pipe doesn't wait politely. It floods your basement, ruins your food stores, wrecks your electrical system, and breeds mold. Got a leaky roof or cracked foundation during a storm? That water's going to make a bad day worse if you can't stop it. That's where the right tools come in. Keep an adjustable wrench and a solid pair of pliers in a visible, easily accessible spot, preferably near your utility area. Learn exactly how to shut off your gas, water, and electricity beforehand. Don't rely on Google when your Wi-Fi is down and your hallway smells like propane. And for the love of preparedness, label your shutoff valves. In the dark with adrenaline pumping, you don't want to be guessing. Look, disasters don't come with instruction manuals, and once things go wrong, every second counts. Having the tools, and more importantly, knowing how to use them, could prevent your home from turning into a charred wreck or a flooded nightmare. Wrench, pliers, know your valves, or prepare to lose everything. 10. Manual can opener, the most forgotten lifeline in a crisis. Let's get brutally honest. What's the point of stockpiling 100 cans of food if you can't open a single one? Sounds ridiculous, but you'd be shocked how many people prep a full pantry of canned goods and completely forget to include a manual can opener. Not electric, not fancy, just the plain old school twist and crank kind that works when the power's out and your gadgets are useless. Here's the reality. In any serious disaster, the electricity goes first. So unless you plan to bash your cans open with a rock or stab them with a screwdriver, please don't. You need a tool designed to do the job safely and efficiently. Without one, you're left with a pile of food you can see but can't touch. And let's not assume that just any opener will do. Cheap ones break, old ones rust shut. Get a high-quality stainless steel manual opener, ideally with a comfortable grip and sturdy turning handle. Keep a backup, too, because tools fail, get lost, or get borrowed and never return. If your food plan depends on canned beans, soups, tuna, or chili, then this tool is just as vital as the food itself. Want a real-world example? After Hurricane Harvey, thousands of families were without power for days. They had food but couldn't eat it because their electric can openers were useless, and they didn't have a manual when some resorted to using knives and ended up with injuries. Here's the blunt truth. A $10 0-cent tool can be the barrier between you and starvation. If your emergency food stash is 90% cans, a manual opener is your golden key. Forget it, and you might as well be eating labels. 11. Local maps, because GPS doesn't work when the grid dies. Google Maps won't save you when the towers go down. We live in a world so dependent on smartphones that most people couldn't navigate out of their own neighborhood without one. That's why FEMA recommends local paper maps, because in a real crisis, your phone becomes dead weight the second the power grid fails or cell networks collapse. Paper maps might seem outdated, but they're indispensable when you're trying to figure out escape routes, locate emergency shelters, find alternate roads, or get to a hospital after a disaster strikes. Floods, earthquakes, cyber attacks, or EMPs, take your pick. If communications are jammed or towers are destroyed, you're flying blind without a map. And no, those souvenir tourist maps won't cut it. You need detailed local and regional maps, ones that show back roads, elevation, hospitals, water sources at major intersections. Get them for your city, your state, and any likely evacuation routes. Then study them. Know the routes now, because in the middle of chaos, with panic crowds and roadblocks, you won't have time to learn. Also consider marking key locations on them in advance. Nearest emergency shelters, high ground, gas stations, family rendezvous points. Store your maps in a waterproof bag with your emergency kit. Keep one in your glove box and one in your bug-out bag. During Hurricane Katrina and other disasters, many people were trapped or delayed simply because they didn't know where to go or how to get there without GPS. Imagine needing to evacuate through back roads or reroute around fallen bridges, only to realize you've never driven that way before in your life. Paper maps don't run out of batteries. They don't drop signal, they work, period. And in a real emergency, knowing where you are and where you're going is everything. Don't wait until you're lost to figure it out. Well, run. Flashlights and batteries. Light is survival, not luxury. When the lights go out, and they will, you'll realize very quickly how dependent you are on electricity. Pitch black means danger. You can't cook. You can't see injuries. You can't navigate a stairwell. That's why FEMA lists flashlights and extra batteries as essential items. And they're not talking about the junky keychain kind. You need real life, durable, reliable, and long-lasting. At minimum, every emergency kit needs 2 types of flashlights. Directional flashlights for seeing ahead, walking outside, or inspecting damage. Omnidirectional lanterns for lighting up a room, tent, or workspace so your hands are free. And let's be honest, don't rely on just one. Get multiples, one for each family member, one in your car, one in the go bag. one in every major room of the house. Why? Because when you're dealing with broken glass, downed power lines, or trying to treat a wound, the last thing you want is to stumble around in darkness with a dying phone flashlight. Forget only relying on AA batteries too. You need solar-powered hand crank or USB rechargeable flashlights as well. Power will be gone for days, maybe weeks, so you need lights that charge in the sun or by manual power. The Hydrolight flashlight is a good example. It can charge by solar and also take standard batteries. Redundancy matters. Don't forget spare batteries. Store them in a waterproof container and rotate them every 6-12 months. Nothing's worse than reaching for your flashlight only to find it's dead and you've got no replacements. Also, stay away from candles. Yes, they're romantic, but they're also fire hazards in unstable environments full of gas leaks, flammable materials, and children. Flashlights are safer, brighter, and smarter. So here's the hard truth. Light is life. Without it, you're vulnerable to injury, panic, theft, and isolation. Stock up on flashlights now or fumble in the dark when it's too late. 13 is cash, because your credit card is useless when the power's out. Let's cut the fantasy. Your plastic won't save you when the grid goes down. No electricity means no card readers, no online banking, no ATMs, and no digital wallets. If you don't have cold hard cash in small denominations, you're stuck. And when people are desperate, nobody is giving you anything on credit. You need small bills. $1.00 says, $5.00 says, $10.00 says. Not just a wad of $100.00 notes that no one can break. In a real emergency, nobody's going to risk giving you change from a Benjamin when they can't restock, can't verify the note, and can't swipe your card. Having $200.00, $300.00, 0 cents in small bills tucked in a waterproof envelope could be the difference between getting food, gas, or water, or going without. Still skeptical? During major blackouts like Hurricane Sandy or Texas's 2021 winter storm, stores that stayed open only accepted cash. People lined up holding their phones only to find out they couldn't pay for essentials. Others walked away with food simply because they had a few 20s in their pocket. Cash also comes in handy when you need to barter, pay for fuel, bribe your way past bureaucracy, or pay neighbors for help. Yes, it's ugly, but disasters bring out reality, not politeness. Don't store your emergency cash in obvious places like your wallet or bedside drawer. Hide it in your go bag, safe, or inside a sealed pouch in your emergency pantry. Spread it out so if one stash gets lost or stolen, you got a backup. Final word, if you're relying solely on digital payments, you're prepping for convenience, not survival. Paper still works when systems don't. Stack your small bills now or beg later. 14, water filter, because bottled water doesn't refill itself. You've stockpiled your water, great. But what happens after day 3 when your gallons run dry? No tap water, no trucks, and now your family is dehydrated. Here's where a manual water filtration system becomes your next lifeline. We're talking real filters here, not a Brita pitcher. You need a survival-grade water filter, like pump-style systems or portable straw filters, Life Straw, Sawyer Mini, Catadine, etc., that can pull clean water out of a river, pond, or rain barrel. These aren't gimmicks. They are field-tested tools that have saved lives in disaster zones, war zones, and undeveloped areas where clean water is non-existent. They remove sediment, bacteria, protozoa, and depending on the model, even viruses and chemicals. That's the difference between safe hydration and weeks of diarrhea. And let's be clear, boiling isn't always an option if you can't make fire or have no fuel. Filtration gives you instant access to drinkable water wherever you are. Here's the harsh truth. You will run out of bottled water, period. And when that moment comes, either you drink from a filthy puddle or you filter it. You also need to understand this. Filters don't make all water instantly safe. Some still require boiling or chemical treatment, especially after filtering heavy contaminants or viruses. But filtration is the first and most important step. You cannot boil sludge or treat mud. You have to remove the particles first. Pro tip, don't wait to figure out how your filter works during an emergency. Test it now. Learn how many gallons it can filter before needing replacement. Know how to clean it. Stock extra filters if your unit allows it. Bottom line, without clean water, you got 72 hours, maybe less. A filter turns puddles into life. It's not optional. It's survival. 15. Rubber gloves, not just for cleaning anymore. You might laugh at the idea of rubber gloves on a survival list until you're knee-deep in human waste, blood, or worse. These aren't cleaning day accessories. They're your barrier between infection and safety. In an emergency, there is no sterile environment. You'll be handling medical waste, treating injuries, treating makeshift toilet liners, managing sick family members, and dealing with who knows what that's been contaminated by floodwater, sewage, or biohazards. Bare hands are an invitation for infection, and one small cut on your finger can open the door to serious disease. Think gloves are overkill? During COVID-19, frontline workers and caregivers burned through gloves hourly, and those were controlled conditions. In your disaster scenario, where there's no running water, no hospital nearby, a pair of gloves might be the only thing protecting you from spreading an illness to your kids, your spouse, or yourself. You'll want disposable nitrile or latex gloves, the kind used in medical and industrial settings. Keep them sealed and clean. Have dozens of pairs, not just one box. If you're reusing gloves, you're doing it wrong. But gloves aren't just for illness. They protect your hands while handling garbage, broken glass, contaminated clothing, or chemical spills. They let you help someone bleeding without endangering your own health. If you're using a bucket toilet or improvising with waste disposal, gloves are essential to avoid cross-contamination. Real-world example, after natural disasters like Haiti's earthquake or the Ebola outbreak in West Africa, hygiene breakdowns killed more people than the disasters themselves. Medical responders were fine because they had gear. Civilians, not so lucky. Final thought, gloves are cheap. Infection is expensive or fatal. Stockpile gloves like your life depends on it, because it just might. 16, camping stove. If you can't cook, you're eating cold beans forever. So your power's out, your electric stove is dead, and you're staring at a pile of canned food and dry rice. What now? Unless you want to eat cold stew out of a tin for the next week, you need a camping stove. A propane-based stove is your best bet. Compact, portable, easy to use, and hot enough to boil water or fry a meal in minutes. It doesn't rely on electricity, and propane tanks, especially the 1LB green Coleman style, are widely available and long-lasting. You've got the room and backyard, a propane grill works too, but for portability and emergency cooking, a 2-burner camp stove is your MVP. Don't forget the fuel. One tank doesn't cut it. Stock multiple bottles of propane and store them safely. Rotate every few years if needed, and keep a stash of waterproof matches or a butane lighter sealed and dry. Don't rely on your kitchen lighter when everything's wet or frozen, and yes, you can boil water with it. Critical for rehydrating freeze-dried meals or sterilizing questionable water sources. It also lets you cook pasta, heat soup, make coffee. Yes, you'll still want it, and keep morale high with hot food in freezing conditions. A few safety tips. Don't cook indoors unless your stove is rated for it. Carbon monoxide buildup is real and deadly. Keep kids and pets away. Use a stable, fire-resistant surface. Know how to shut it down in an instant. Real-world disaster zones show us the same thing over and over. People don't just crave food, they crave hot food. It's comfort, it's health, it's survival. You can eat cold rations if you have to, but if you want options, energy, and sanity, a camping stove turns your pantry into a working kitchen.